y'all. I just got done watching a video that was just truly heartbreaking. Honestly, it was. You know, there is nothing more evil than the evil that has torn your family apart. It has, man, there is nothing more evil than that. Oh my goodness, it's awful. It is awful. Oh, let me go ahead. I wanted to come and though shed some light about some of you guys' mother wounds and trauma. Okay, is what I want to come and talk about. And, however you want to take this conversation, it's just merely something to like open up people's eyes right now. I feel like a lot of people need to hear this. Maybe it will help you transmute a lot of your anger, a lot of your resentment. Okay? Maybe it will. Maybe it won't. Okay? So, I looked at a video about mother trauma, and it was a lot of different very heartbreaking stories in there about mothers, bad mothers. And yes, there are bad mothers in this world. Absolutely. Like, oh my goodness gracious. And more than likely, it's not necessarily a generational curse because somewhere down your bloodline, hopefully, somebody knew what they was doing, right? Somebody knew something to do something because, the evil that causes that, I don't like to compare people to animals, but when you think about nature, for a parent, any parent, but in particular a mother, to not protect her children or to be the aggressor, to be the one that is causing and inflicting pain upon her children. Okay? It's really very much so against nature. It is. It makes no sense, and it's so sad, And sometimes that can go back generations. I know that I was lucky enough to where my grandmother and her sisters were just amazing women. You know what I mean? They were. Me and my mother didn't start having problems until I became an adult. Right? So, I hope that doesn't. I think that's going to rise up just enough. So I don't really come from a place where, I've been through that. But I can tell you that I know exactly what the issue is because trust me, as a mother myself, I'm going to say this, the world, and just because we didn't see it in social media, the behaviors of the world, of the whole world, okay? The world, okay, already makes it difficult upon mothers. The world makes it difficult. The whole world does, right? And I'm not even talking about, I haven't even gotten into the spiritual information yet, right? But the reason why the world makes it difficult is because the world is under that type of possession as well. Okay? I've sat back and I've observed the whole world and situations. And when I hear about certain traumas and even deaths and murders of little children, I can see everything going on around it. And you know what? The one thing I can tell you is that typically at those times that things like that are happening, everybody is like the walking dead. It's astounding that not too many other people see this, and it is very difficult being somebody that can see so much. It's difficult. It's not easy. It isn't. um where do I begin with this? Probably especially our generation, but then beyond that, if something messed up was going on that your father was okay with, or either a grandfather or some elder was okay with. If there was something going on, it was almost like a fight for your life. Like somebody had a gun to people's heads. You're going to it's almost like there's this rebel force that's saying, I want to hurt this child. I want to hurt this family, and you're going to let me. And if you don't, everything's going to be thrown at you. Everything. Your life is under threat. And a lot of people, they say that they are religious, but they don't really know the Bible, because it actually does talk about one entity, one demon named Moloch, that I know for a fact is the demon of child sacrifice. And I don't discount the whole Bible because it teaches you a lot. You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't necessarily, really, in my humble opinion, teach you everything that you need to know to battle a lot of this evil. I know a lot of Christians that watch this are going to disagree with that, but it is just the truth. Because if it was, then we wouldn't be looking at the world and looking and seeing what we're seeing. We wouldn't be seeing that. We wouldn't have women who are just trying to work or get off of work and they have to carry guns and mace and knives to their cars, because you never know if some male, which mainly crimes are committed by men. This is a fact. Like, people can refute this. People can say da 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 da. Just go look at the statistics. And then we live in it. We kind of, what exists on this earth is fear, right? Fear of that, not knowing if you're going to be safe. Then it is the male privilege in this world. You know how many women, I actually do have $1 and I've made many dollars. I have. Well, imagine if you had $1 for every woman that was strong and stood up to evil, and she ended up on the streets with her kids, nowhere to go. Okay. So it's kind of like that, right? Like, let's not lose sight of that. And then let's not lose sight of the presence of possession, and how there are a lot of people that just are not strong as you would like for them to be. And that's probably your mother. She's not prepared for that. And then she's not really given the spiritual tools to do that either. If I had $1 for every woman that prayed to Jesus Christ to help her child and to look after her kids, and then next thing you know, she getting a phone call that something happened to them kids, crying. And then, of course, you tell yourself anything to make yourself feel better. Goodness gracious. So the world is not necessarily the way that, and I don't want to say the world because, listen, the status quo, I would say probably for like the last century or longer, has not been conducive of keeping children safe, keeping women safe, girl children. It hasn't been. It hasn't been. Okay, let's keep it real. Let's keep it real. You know, y'all don't probably know the conversations and the intuition that your mother picked up on from either your father and the men around him. There have been a lot of women who know better than to stand up because maybe it could have ended your life. And then when you look at the community of people, what does the community always do? The community always backs up that man. Whenever a woman says, hey, I'm being abused, my children are being abused, I need help, a lot of the times the men have a louder voice than the woman, and the dysfunction comes out. It's always been there. I'm gonna tell you something. For every abuser that is like that, there is going to be a barrage of people that are going to back him up and protect him. Now, I'm not saying that y'all didn't have a mother that was a piece of crap that just did not care. But I can tell you personally, I speak from personal experience. Guess who gets the blame? Mama. You know what? As a mother, it's my fault. Yep. Hey, you know what? I'm not saying that it was my fault, but I'm saying that I'm going to fix it. I'm going to make it better. See, that's the kind of mother that I am, because people love, I'm going to tell you something. People love to make children feel like they're unwanted and unloved by their mother. I don't know what the fuck that shit is about. I have seen people, I have seen men and families of men of I've seen a man and his family just take the kids, take over, abuse the kids, and say, well, where's your mama? Somehow has alienated her, took the kids. I've been through that, actually. I'm not going to get into detail, but I've been through that, you know. What else can you do as a mother? You can't do nothing but pick up the pieces and tell the truth. You know what? There's spiritual work out there that can be done to hush the mouth. I don't want these kids to know the truth. I want them to blame it all on their mama. So be careful with that. Now, I'm not talking about y'all that to where, you know, your mother was beating you and beating you or something like that, or doing things to you. You know, my heart goes out to y'all. Like, your mama wasn't about nothing, you know, because I'm just telling y'all, it's some really bad mothers out there, and yeah, or doing other things, competing with their kids, and just not giving a general shit about their kids. I'm talking about those of you that have that gray area right? I want to tell y'all that society itself has not been exactly cultivating good mothers. What they've been doing is training good wives, and that's it. That's it. That's your worth, and it doesn't go beyond that. And I can again speak from personal experience as someone that became a mother for the fourth time with a donor. Society wanted to kick my kid. And see, y'all know me, I'm hell on wheels. Oh, goodness gracious. I am hell on wheels. These men out here in this world, it's all about the competition. Who's better, the mother or the father? Who's more of this and that? Oh, I've got to be a man. And really, what loses its importance is the children. They end up hanging in the balance while they're competing. That's why I say, well, what is all of that? That's not doing the best for the children. And this is what's been going on in our society, and this is how many men are groomed. I'm not saying all of them, but I'm saying that a lot of them are groomed that way. Every single story that I heard about those women, well, with an exception of one of the stories that I heard where the mother was beating the daughter and taking her anger out on her. You don't do that. You don't do that crap. Like, no, you don't take your anger out on your kids. Every single story, though, that involved abuse, especially sexual abuse, it was a man, a boy, trying to get his rocks off. Every single one. But then mama wasn't there to protect you, right? She wasn't there to protect you. Would she have protected you if she was there? I would hope so. My point that I'm making is that when it comes to mothers, we are not. I'm going to tell you something. Let me tell you something. Just for being a mother, standing up for my kids, both me and my kids' lives got threatened. But it was a threat. Oh, you love your kids? Oh, you want to do right by your children? And I'm not going to get into the whole story because they tried to shame me into oblivion. Why? Because they want access to the children. They want to, the world kind of, the reason why they want to separate the mamas from the babies is because they want to do what they will with your child. And that's the truth. And from a distance, I wasn't allowing that. You know what I'm saying? That's why they kept saying, why are you practicing that witchcraft? Why you asking me about why I'm practicing witchcraft, honey? Because that's the only way that we're truly going to protect our children. That's a fact. That's a fact. And I was berated. I was dissed. I was dogged out. Hey, Delphine. Hello. And you know what? There are some mothers that are like that. They're abusive. And my heart goes out to y'all that went through that. You know what I mean? Because that's not no way to bring up a child. It's not, and forgiveness is good because that is a part of the healing process. Sometimes it depends on the situation, because I have awareness of mothers who literally, it's not just about abuse in the home, but they kind of follow behind the child, sell the child out, sell the child into these programs to where the child's going to be stalked, harassed, tortured, fed upon. Again, these are very powerful entities. They are tricky. You're dealing with very powerful entities that have been doing what they have been doing for the longest. And really, to be honest with you, it was when the church was erected that it got worse. I'll be honest with y'all. Okay. Um, yeah, because I was looking at something else. I was looking at something else today. And why are everybody scared to talk about these incubuses and succubuses, these lower level entities that do have a hierarchy because some of them are more powerful? But why ain't nobody talking about that? Why everybody just talking about psychic vampire and stuff like that? Do you know what energy and entity is behind the psychic vampire? Have you done the research? So a lot of people have had the wool pulled over their eyes. And so the same thing with this. Unfortunately, there are some people that are more susceptible to possession. When you look at some of these stories that you hear, why would a mother kill her baby? It's mothers out here murdering their children in cold blood. And I'm not trying to give them a pass and say, oh, well, it was possession. But what would make somebody do that? It has to make some kind of sense. It has to. Otherwise, what are we going to do? Are we just going to, not ever figure it out? We all know that when a life is taken, especially if it's not taken in self-defense, we all know that whatever that is has eaten the life force of that victim. We all know that. So going back to what I was talking about, though, let's drift back, because if you're here, which some of the some of the I'm gonna tell you some of the people, the spirits, some of the people that have been hurt, they not alive. There's people that have passed on that need healing from something that their mother did. Uh, One example would be Gabriel Fernandez. Okay, so just bringing him up as an example, because he's one of the few spirits that actually literally came to me, and he was such a sweetheart. You know what I mean? He was such a sweetheart. But anyway, because my spirits and familiars and stuff, they are very protective of me. They will not let just anything come in. It's just, but getting back to what I was saying, we need to be able to look at society. For those of you that are still walking and talking and breathing, and you are living within trauma, we got to get down to the root of the problem. And the root of the problem is fear. Many women are afraid. If your mother stayed with an abusive man that abused her, abused the children, she was afraid. She was scared. She didn't have the power to do that. And then we all know that when a woman becomes a single mother, society begins to judge her. We know that. Are we forgetting that? Have we lost sight of that? Some of these men will smile for the camera, and behind the scenes, they are literally the terrorizer in the home. And some of them not only have they have legal pull, they have political rank, they have military rank. Some of them are or have high positions of power. And so what are these women going to do? Somebody might know somebody. He may not be in that position, but he may know somebody that's in that position. that can hurt you. Then we got the secret societies and stuff like that that are doing a lot. So you have to consider everything. And just saying, oh, I got a mother wound, you got to go beyond that. You got to really, really, really look and see what is going on and look at this world for what it is and what what we're dealing with. A man can decide up, I'm angry at you. You can't leave me. And he may not have the gall. Hey, Stevan. Hey, sweetie. He may not have the gall to take your life, but he can do other stuff. You know what I mean? So, but the death threat is definitely there. Even, look at the case in Shreveport, Louisiana. Everybody in the family knew. This man told her, if you leave me, I'm taking you out. I'm gonna murder everybody. And you know, and society just kinds of moves around that. It's different stories are different. There could be a compilation of what is happening that is causing that. And I just think that, okay, yes, your mother needs to stand up. Yep, she need to stand up and she need to stand 10 toes down for you. I agree. I agree. But at what cost? And you know what? What is gonna happen? Does she truly know how to protect you? Because a lot of these men, they will tell you, you out of here. You're done. I don't, you know, you out of here. You're done. I'm gonna take your life, and then there it is. And I'm not talking about those of you that, you know, uh, well, first of all, let's do talk about this, though. Let's do talk about this. Some of y'all, your mama, she ain't there no more. She not there no more. She gone. Even though she's animated, she's alive. She been gone for years. She ain't there no more. That's a walking shell. She's under possession. She can't care. She's possessed by that man and all those entities that he's put in her, and then other stuff that he's allowed to go in her. So she's not there. Your mother's gone. Let her go. Okay? She gone. Maybe she did have the heart to protect you, but she was broken. She was broken. She gave up. She gave up and said, you know what? I can't do this. Why y'all think so many women unalive themselves? It's women that unalive themselves. They can't deal with it no more. They ain't gonna take the kids with them, but because they tried to go for help. And everybody was against him. Nobody listened to him. And he even turned the whole family, her family, against her. So you don't know what was going on. I know that's right, SM Bruton. I love my mom too. You know what I'm saying? Like, I miss her a lot. My mother passed on in 2021. So, all of this stuff that's going on, it ain't just the mama's fault. It ain't, because where's your father? Where's daddy? Where's daddy at? What's daddy doing? What's your family doing? Yeah. It is very traumatizing. And you know what? I'm a share something with y'all today. You know, the entities that feed on us and stuff like that, please bear in mind that they feed off of all of your trauma and your pain. Stop giving it to them. Every time you cry, every time you miss that healing mark, they feeding. That's why they want to create more and more and more and more and more trauma. They need more. They feed off of our pain. They do. They feed off of our pain, and but what does the world do? What does society do? Society continues to kick down and beat down the wisdom of the witches, especially those of us that try to help. They want us all on the same page. No. And you know, they threaten to kill me. And I say, you can't kill me. You gonna what? Trust and believe I know my power. I got my connections. I got my familiars. And I'm not talking about family, but family too. But I'm talking about my familiars. They try to bully witches like me. They don't like us because they want to feed them entities. And they are very here and abundant, present and abundant. So, and they feed. And they got a lot of people under possession. They got a lot of people under possession. I'm sorry for your loss, Stefan. I didn't know you lost your dad. I'm sorry for your loss. I still ain't processed my father passing. I still ain't processed it. I'm going to be honest with y'all. It's still unbelievable. I was talking to him one day. I said, Dad, I said, what? I said, oh, I said, this is super duper animated, ain't it? I said, this way, the way he went. Mm. I saw his spirit the day that he passed away. Same day he was waving at me. This, yeah, you know. But anyway, back to what I was saying. It's so many pieces of this puzzle. Well, you know what? I'm gonna tell you something. Crying because of your pain is very different from a healing cry. It is. It's very different when it comes from a healing perspective. And so I heal people for a living, right? And a lot of them are holding back them tears. And I'm like, it's safe for you to cry now, especially because we got all them entities in a chokehold. They can't get nothing. They can't get nothing. And they can't question us either. What you gonna do? So, you know, it can be it ain't safe to cry sometimes. It ain't safe to let that emotion come out because they are feeding off of that. And they've been around for a long time, growing and growing, increasing, multiplying. I'm talking about interdimensionals. Now, I will tell you that all of it, every I feel like every bad thing that we experience, all this dystopia is caused by that. Because when I look at it through my spiritual lenses, that's all I can see. Especially when you look at the animals is having sex with different species of animals and stuff, and then they be, you know, sometimes cats or dogs or something will destroy their litter and stuff. It's weird because you ain't supposed to do that. Then humans are acting weird too, you know. All you can do is learn and understand. When you start to develop a better, deeper level of understanding, and the story may be different, it may be different. Because there's some of these parents out there, they will sacrifice their kid. The kids are blood sacrifices. They gave birth to them just to sacrifice them. But a lot of parents out there, they had every intention on bringing their child into this world and loving the child and giving the child everything that they need and nurturing the child. And something may have happened, you know. My great grandmother, she was a witch. This was my grandmother's mother. And I believe that saved the family. Now, my grandmother was in the Eastern Star, which was, not the best move, but she became, she converted to Christ, which, that religion was very good to her. So, but it was certain things that because my grandmother is one of my most powerful spirit guides. That she said, she told me, she said, I wish that I would have done that different. She tells me all the time, I live vicariously through you. You know what I'm saying? And she guides me a lot. So, okay. Oh, shoot, that's done. So, it's but my grandmother's mother practiced, and and I think it was down there. Was it Mississippi? Where is that? What they do with with my oven mitt? Somebody trying to make me torture my hands. I had the oven mitt out. Let me use these towels. That's why they make oven mitts, so that, that's the best protection for the hands when you're getting something hot out the oven. Anyway, I got it out. So, it just, but again, Hollywood skewed the whole thing with being a witch. It's been skewed, a whole lot. And so, and again, they want to destroy the witches. They want to destroy the healers. They want to destroy the shamans. They want us to destroy the entities, and they possess people every single day. It's not about, discounting religion necessarily, because there used to be a time when, all religions coexisted, and church people always went to witches. Look at the story of Marie Laveau, if you ain't never heard of her. If you ain't never heard her true story, So they don't want women protecting their kids. They gonna give you a hard time protecting them kids. Cause them kids, they want to use them kids. They want to abuse them kids. They sick. They're filled with this dark ecstasy. They call ecstasy dark ecstasy. They filled with it. They want to look at children, getting raped. They want to look at children getting unalive. They want they snuff films. They want they dark ecstasy. They want it. And so if you are a mama protecting your kids, you got to be on guard 24/7. And they will bring it to you. And if they feel like you doing too much, yep, they will come for you. So, even if your mother was abusive to you, try to have a forgiving heart. That doesn't mean that you got to go and drop your kids off with her if she's still here. That doesn't mean that, you know, uh, but it is good for you to get past it and to really really understand what the problem is. It's a serious problem. And it's been generations and generations of men who have been compromised in that way. And they don't want to listen to the witches to get better. They don't want to listen to us. They can't listen to us. They can't hear us. You know? And I'm not saying all men are bad. I'm not saying all men are bad. What is the point in empowering the children, the women to protect the children? That's supposed to be the point, and to protect herself too, because she counts also. But the kids come first because they didn't ask to be here, or maybe they did. I don't know, but they, but they don't want you to do it. They don't, because if you're standing guard and protecting your children, they can't do what they want to do with your kids. Y'all remember that one preacher that and I think it's a couple of other ones, new ones that done popped up, talking about we need to take all children from single mothers and put and just place them with married couples and it's just all kinds of crazy stuff. It's like a what? And so y'all know that they started with the single mothers, but a lot of the single mothers was a whole other another. They did that, because so then they started in on the married couples too. They started so nobody's really safe from that. Nobody. Being married doesn't automatically protect you. May have some extra person there to help you, but they still after them kids no matter what. But they feel like when it comes to the single children of single mothers, and you know what, it's gotten worse the past 20 years too. It used to didn't be that way, but it's gotten worse the past 20 years. We something done came back, and they are collecting these children, and all kinds of stuff is happening. And you are just the devil. You are evil. If you are protecting your kids, they just look at you like you evil. They shame you because of it. So, yeah, tears can be painful, but that's why I was saying, if you've got that much trauma, it's good to be under the care of a healer that can see you through that. Now, there are times when it's time for you to be strong, but there are times when it's time for you to let it all out. And then sometimes it's good to transmute it, you know. Um don't let it take over your life. Can't let it take over. You can't let that navigate your life, because that's what's going to tear you down. Is like a cancer, it's like you just it's taking a lot of people down, you know what I'm saying? But just to say, oh, my mama did this, mama, well, but what your daddy do though? What role did he play in that? Huh? What role did the father play in it? That you got to look at that too. And then what was the reason for it? Yeah, and I feel like this there, especially with all these witch houses and botanicas and stuff and information out there, there's really no excuse. But especially back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, for some reason, the whole like 20th century was just filled with, women going through it. And then there was a movement that happened probably around the 70s or 80s, if y'all remember. Diane Keaton, I think that's her name. She starred in the movie about, what was it called? I can't think of the name of that movie where she was raising that little baby. I think she adopted the baby or whatever. And, because as much as we don't want that, there are going to be some women that are going to be raising children alone because maybe they made a bad decision on choosing the father. But these days, the woman, these males out here, because social media is ruling everything. They out here telling these women, you should, well, why you didn't make a better choice? Well, hold on. The child is already here. What the fuck are you talking about? So women are being berated. They're being berated. No woman wants to go through that. Hell, I went through it. Came out on social media with my beautiful children and just was and I got attacked just for wanting to raise my children in a peaceful, calm environment. Well, you ain't nothing, and you this and you that, and the put downs and the attacks and the abuse. I don't. You think I cared? You think that was going to change what I was doing? And what and so it just is what it is, and they just look at you like you ain't shit. So what? So what? Dog you out. Oh, you ain't good enough for no man. Now all of a sudden you just supposed to be single the rest of your life because you ended up being a single mom. It's weird. It is very weird and strange the way they are. I ain't going through, well, yeah, well, thank you, Royal Earth Angel, thank you. But for me, I'm the thing of it is that I'm a Cancer and I'm a natural born witch. Cancers are something special. And for me, I don't let it touch me. I'm a water sign, so it typically rolls off of my back, and then especially being that I'm a Cancer, so I don't let it touch me like that. But unfortunately, a lot of these men are running around here with that thought process in their loins, and they want to tear you down. They hate your kids. They feel like, who cares about those kids? They're bastards anyway, you know. And it that's one part of the Bible that I don't agree with. I got into it with people throughout the years for calling my kids bastards. Back when I was 20, I was a hellion. I'd be like, don't be, I was like, don't be saying that word around me. That's a bad word around me. I don't like that. I do not like it when people call kids bastards. You the bastard. Oh, my parents were married. Yep, and you still a bastard. So fuck you and fuck off. That's how I felt. Yep. And some of them is even out here targeting women with children so that they can tear down the woman and tear. It's a whole thing. It's a whole damn conspiracy going on. It's a whole damn conspiracy going on to where, these men are like, go after the ones that are single with kids and fool her, trick her, and set her up and, try to mess with her head and mess her up and let's see what'll happen. And a lot of women will get messed up by that. For me, I'm just like, you know what? You dealing with a witch, honey. And oh, you ain't got no power. Oh, oh, I'm not that kind of witch, hon. Oh, I'm not that kind of witch. I'm not, yeah. So, because at the end of the day, you know what, I like myself, and what most people want is they just want, at the end of the day, they want the kids to be happy and smiling, and whether or not the children are out of the home, they're grown, call mama, hey, how you doing? Did what y'all eat for dinner? Did you enjoy yourself? Did you, well, I love you. I'll talk to you later, and so, but that's not what they want. They want you in turmoil. They want you in pain and suffering. They want you to suffer. And there's many, many, many different egregores in collective consciousness. Many of it rests and lies and is solely pinpointed at this whole damn energy harvesting thing. Well, where is the energy harvesting coming from? What did the Bible tell us about the incubuses and the succubuses? And as a witch, as a serious witch, I am not a like I am a love and light witch, but on the flip side, I handle business. Okay. And I'm not saying that I'm a dark witch and da da da, but I know my stuff, right? You know what I'm saying? I know what it takes. Okay. And and that you can take that however you want it, which is embracing the darkness for that protection and that power, because sometimes a lot of the times we can't afford not to, because they just looking for you to be trusting and unprotected. They looking for that. They want you to, they want that, and it's sad, but it's true. And this world is overpopulated with people like that, unfortunately. Y'all want to talk about overpopulation? That's where the good people are not overpopulating this world. These numbnuts is overpopulating the world. Because they up to no good. They got all kind of little stuff that they be doing and stuff. They real cruel. They don't like to see you happy. They like misery. They like seeing people miserable. They want you miserable. hmm And a lot of them are possessed. you know some of them, the possession, they're willing to do it, but some of them don't know. I say 99.9% of men, especially, they have some kind of entity attachment. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't necessarily make them a bad person, but they do have those entity attachments. But some of them are really, really, real wicked out there. So y'all, and if you gonna stand in a position, especially some of y'all that are advocating for children and women, you better know the proper protection to get and where to go to, because just the what's happening these days. Oh my God, they just popped up. They just pop up, and they got an agenda. So we got agendas out here, and they are still obsessed with these blood sacrifices, of course, and then a lot of other stuff. It's a lot of stuff that is happening behind the veil that people can't see, and it's because you're not supposed to see it. They want you uh to not be wise to it. So try to have an understanding of that. It's just what I wanted to say, as far as, like, when there was a time frame, because they did it at certain ages. But some of y'all was in, dealing with that from a baby, you know. But if you were a certain age, there were certain things. And then we want to, we talk about generational curses, but it's not just about generational curses. It's also about real time sorcery that's happening as well. Yeah, they so miserable. They don't want everybody else. They want everybody else to be miserable so they don't feel bad about their unhealed self. Yeah. And it goes a lot deeper than that. I'm telling you. And then when I look around at the world, a lot of these people I be seeing out here, they just be under possession. It's like the Walking Dead is what it is. It literally is. And you know, they tell you that you don't want to cross paths with a black cat, but black cats are actually good luck. But it's, you don't want to cross paths with one of these zombies. That's what I call them. These people that are possessed, ultra possessed. And everybody that's under possession is not, committing egregious acts. Possession can result in you being weakened and blind to the truth. So possession is blindness too. It was suggested to me that I go within and heal and raise my vibration, and that in doing so these people wouldn't have any access to me. But you know what? That Yelp, that is true, but everything that is here and present and abundant on this earth, they do tell you it's evil to utilize it. You know what I mean? They tell you it's evil. Because, and I know that a lot of people, they are heavy on Jesus, but Jesus guides me too and told me what to do about, especially when it comes to entities are creating and causing a lot of the problems. Which entities is doing it? You know what I'm saying? So that, I had $1 million hit on my head and they can't even get it done. I thank God for my protection. I know you must. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's a trip, ain't it? You've been exposing what they did to you as a child. That's interesting, Royal Earth Angel. Do you have a channel? Let me go and see if you make any videos. Yeah, you got to be careful when you start to expose. Ooh, you got to be careful. Hold on, let me go to your channel. Okay, let me see. Okay, well, I don't see where you've posted any videos. Okay. But yeah, they will attack when you start talking. When you start revealing what's been done to you, they will start attacking. Yep. Because they don't want to face that shame of what they did. So, whoever it was that did the wrong to you, I didn't. Oh, goodness. So, um, it's a very scary thing knowing some of the things that that are happening in our world. And but if you feel it in your spirit, because I work with clients, right? And so there are some cases where there's a generational curse, there's a plot, there's a scheme, there's an agenda against my client. And yes, it becomes painfully obvious that the mama ain't no good because she's facilitating a lot of it and letting it happen and encouraging it. But if it's a situation to where it's not, but it was some circumstances to where they somehow moved your mama out of the way, because they do that. and your mother is crying her eyes out, she's never done anything to you directly, then you may want to listen to your mother. And especially when you got a bunch of people trying to come to you. When you think about it, you ever see somebody coming at you about your mother and they talking negatively about your mother, but your mother ain't never abused you, ain't never done nothing to you, has fought for you, but yet they talking about your mama, but yet they the ones that's doing all of the abusing to you, and they the ones it's weird. Like they do stuff like that, possess people that are messed up like that, people that do stuff like that. They will literally do what they do to you and then blame it on your mama. Like, really? And I've witnessed them doing spell work. I've witnessed them doing spell work and ritual to eliminate anything and anybody that wants to protect those kids. I've seen them do it. They do that. They do rituals. They want to move the father out the way too. Sometime if the daddy ain't into it, in on it, they'll move both the parents out the way. Well, you know what, over here, Royal Earth Angel, I don't know if you're familiar with me, but I don't necessarily blame Lucifer or the fallen angels, because to be honest with you, a lot of my information and pointers and tips came from Lucifer that said, "Hey, because he's the light bearer, he sheds light." So a lot of what I needed to know came from that wisdom. They let me know, "Hey, this is this is this entity, this is how you do that, this is how you do this." So I'm just saying, okay. And different people have different relationships, but all I know is that I was given the wisdom and the knowledge from the fallen angels. Maybe God did it that way. I don't know. Okay, I don't know. But, I know that a lot of the useful information and understanding, because I grew up being spiritually graped by the incubuses and succubuses, right? And no matter how much prayer that I did, it would not get rid of them. And it wasn't until I opened my eyes and you don't see none of, because I'm gonna tell you something. Those things, like the Bible is correct about that. Those entities are the worst. They are one of the main enemies, not the jinn, not the fallen angels. It's these incubuses and succubuses. It is. I swear to y'all, they create so many problems, sexual problems, pain and suffering, fights and arguments, murders, of the innocent. They are really, 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 like, I'm telling y'all. Well, and you know what? You said I had all the groups, I had all the religious cults, and the Luciferians and the Scientologists, the Calvinists. I had just about every religious cult out there. I had the weirdest ish going on. If anybody, if I tried to tell anybody else but someone like you and myself, they think I'm crazy. Yeah. You know what? And see, the thing of it is about that is that, just because it's labeled as Luciferian, or I don't even know what that label is about, but I can tell you that just like there's good and bad churches out there, good and bad religious people out there, there's good and bad, Satanists out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's really all I can, that's, you know what I mean? Mm, Yeah, they can. Yeah, they do. But see, here's the thing about it, and what I want to tell y'all this is that a lot of the times the deities, what they are telling us, and the knowledge that they have given us, is that you are dealing with collective consciousness. You are dealing with thought forms and collective consciousness, right? So if you get a group, let's say from a church, and they all on this thing that they're doing this thing, then that's what's going to give it power, no matter if it's a church or if it's a Christian, a Catholic, Jehovah's Witness. They can be doing evil too. And so it's all about that collective consciousness of what it is that they are wanting to do. You're fighting with these egregores, collective energies that come together within that thing, whatever agenda that they have. Okay. And a lot of those collective groups, there's probably that hint within them that turn them towards that. But the reason why they're able to get away with it, and they're able to get away with it for so long, is because they have certain entity backings. And it doesn't matter if you're a witch or whether or not are on the left hand path or the right hand path. The knowledge is there, and whatever it is that you want to do, then you can do what you do with it. So for me, I just choose to heal. And the deep connection, the deep level of connection that I have with shamanism, that's the way that they did it for years. And it's something that really, I can't really discuss publicly, but what I can tell you is that, you know uh everything ain't necessarily cookie cutter. And sometimes you can be dealing with propaganda, you know what I mean? But a lot of people are afraid. I know that for me, I had no choice. I had nowhere else to go because I felt strongly that I was being attacked by the patriarchal church because they want power and they want money. And you become a threat. So what do? They make countless videos about witches, trying to make us all seem like we're bad, and they're brainwashing the masses of men. That's a fact. And so that's another egregore. That's another collective consciousness, one of the main ones that we're dealing with. Uh-huh. So, the moment that they learn that you can't pull that crap over on everybody, the better, because, and they can't stand me because of that, because they want to tell you, well, you ain't got no power, but I got power to protect me. I got power to be me, to create my reality. I got the power to do that. And they don't want you to even have that. They want to create your reality. They want to kick you down. They want to beat you down. They want to be in competition with the woman. They want to stop her from doing her work. They want to stop her from nurturing. Okay. Because they sick and they lost. Okay. Yeah. I totally, I totally understand that. Yeah. I totally understand that. You know, That's just like there's some people that will swear by Moloch. They will just swear by Moloch. I would never touch Moloch, you know? Heck yeah, I've read the Bible, but I ain't sat down and read the whole thing. No, no. Bits and pieces of it, but I know enough about it. Yeah, but I was raised in the church, but my mother was very spiritual. My mother was very spiritual. Yeah, I know that. You know what the thing of it is about me is that, here's the thing with me about books. Okay. It's still somebody else's interpretation, right? It is. And even the Bible, okay, even the Bible. However, there are gems in the Bible. I agree. Do I feel like it is the true original story of creation? No, I don't. I don't, right? But you know what I'm saying? Um have I, so but there are certain things that very few things that I agree with in the Bible. And I think that when they spoke about the incubuses and succubuses and Moloch, that's one area that I do agree with. So my first wounding in a sexually inappropriate way was as an infant. That automatically puts a soul tie there. Yeah, yeah. Do you still have that soul tie? Do you still have that soul tie? And do you feel that somehow Lucifer did that? Because I don't think that I don't yeah, I don't think that Lucifer had anything. The sexual misconduct. Yeah, oh yeah, it's a way to distort the soul and the mind, but it's also a way to it's also a way to assert dominance, but also it's a way of possession. It's a way of possession too. Yeah. Yeah. So, uh-huh. Yeah. Well, I can tell you, I'm looking at your picture and you look pretty good for 72. Okay. You must have done something. And so, we all have our way of, dealing with that, just looking at your picture, if that's you in the picture on your channel, I can see that you definitely have your light. I can see it big time. I can tell by the eyes that they didn't, you know, as they say, gut, they boy, because they out here gutting people like fishes, and you look really good for your age. Yeah. Yeah. So just curious, do you mind sharing your zodiac sign with me? So, yeah. Well, I don't worship Lucifer or the devil either. I don't worship them, no. Yeah. And I tell you the only reason I survived was my faith in God and my biblical practices. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Yeah. Yeah. I believe the Bible and I studied the Bible and I memorized scripture when I was younger. Nice. Well, I'm pagan and I actually practice Hellenic polytheism, just in case you didn't know that. Uh, Enoch was a human being and he actually talked to the fallen angels that rebelled against the Almighty. Hmm. Okay. Well, that's yeah. Well, my whole thing about it is that I feel that whatever your spiritual path is, it's sort of a personal type of thing. You know what I'm saying? I feel that whatever results in that, because my significant other who I am very close to, he's actually Christian. Well, he doesn't call himself Christian, but he definitely is a follower of Jesus Christ. And, me and him get along amazingly. So, yeah, yeah. Mm, okay. Well, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. You know what? I wish I could continue this conversation with you. Maybe someday I can invite you on the panel, but I'm going to go. I wish you all love and light and healing. Okay. Have a wonderful evening. Okay. I will see you guys later. I got to go. Thank you for the thumbs up. I appreciate the conversation. And to all of you guys, have a wonderful evening, and I will see y'all later. Thank you for coming, Royal Earth Angel. Okay. See you guys later. Blessings. I got to go. Okay. I just realized how late it is, and I got to go. All right. Blessings to y'all. Bye.